the Town of Berniston Select Board meeting for Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. We'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. And just a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast live on BNC TV and live streamed on YouTube. To find BNC TV on YouTube, go to youtube.com and search for Berniston Northfield Community Television. This meeting will be available for later viewing by following the link at thetownofberniston.org. You can also watch channel 1075 on your Comcast dial in Berniston. And the first order of business tonight, we'll do the warrants. I would entertain a motion for the payroll warrant in the amount of $62,538.62.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I would entertain a motion for the vendor warrant in the amount of $93,096.67.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? On that, we have 2 monthly invoices for accounting services totaling $9,166, and the health insurance premiums of $20,164.25. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion of the regular meeting minutes of October 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Calendar announcements. The Scarecrow in the Park returns. Join us at Cushman Park from Friday, October 17th, that's this Friday, through Sunday, October 19th, for the 21st Annual Scarecrow in the Park, proudly hosted by the Berniston Kiwanis. And now in its 12th year, featuring the incredible talents of local artists and craftspeople, this beloved fall tradition promises a weekend full of fun for all ages. Enjoy live music performances, delicious food vendors, the always popular tractor parade, creative activities for kids and families, and so much more. Let's make this year's Scarecrow in the Park the biggest and best yet. Can't wait to see you there. So that's this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday, correct. Thank you. The Friends of the Cushman Park Library Perennial Plant Fundraiser. During Scarecrow in the Park, Friends of Cushman Library will hold a perennial plant fundraiser on Saturday, October 18th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Cushman Library. All proceeds will support library programming. Go to the event calendar on the town website for more details. There will be a Clean Sweep Bulky Waste Collection Day, which is scheduled for this Saturday, October 18th from 9 to noon at Mohawk Trail Regional High School, the Irving Highway Garage, and the Whately Transfer Station. For more details, go to the event calendar on the town website at www.townofberniston.org, and you must sign up for that event. The Green Committee will meet on Monday, October 20th at 6 p.m. at the Town Hall. The Efficiency and Regionalization Advisory Committee meeting they'll have a meeting on Monday, October 20th at 5:30 p.m. at the Berniston Senior Center. That's for Berniston and Leiden. The Finance Committee meeting, the Finance Committee will meet on Monday, October 20th at 5:30 at the Town Hall. The 6-town Regional Planning Board information sessions in response to the challenges posed by a shrinking school-age population. The Massachusetts towns of Berniston, Gill, Leiden, Montague, Northfield, and Warwick have come together to envision a sustainable and enriched educational future for their students. The 6-town Regional Planning Board will host the last of the 3 informational sessions at the Berniston Senior Center to present and discuss the board's background, progress, and regionalization proposal on Saturday, October 25th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Residents are encouraged to attend and participate in shaping the future of education in the region. A vaccination clinic will be held at the Senior Center on Monday, October 27th from 12:30 to 2:30. That is a change.
Oh, okay.
We just got that a couple minutes ago.
Okay, thank you.
So that's October 27th from 12:30 to 2:30. Advanced signups are required by October 17th, so that's coming quick. Please contact Donna DiPretto with your questions at 413-768-1148. There'll be a Board of Health meeting. They'll hold their monthly meeting on Tuesday, October 28th at 3:30 at the Town Hall. The Berniston Annual Soccer Jamboree. This is a big one. The Tri-County League Annual Soccer Jamboree will be held on Saturday, November 1st from 11 to 3 at Pratt Field. Parking opens at 8:30. Designated handicap parking will be available for vehicles with official placards. A variety of food options will be available for purchase throughout the event. Details are available on the event calendar on the town website. And speaking to the rec committee, I think they're expecting up to 48 teams this year
All right.
at that event.
48 teams
Up from
times
43.
12 kids
Yeah.
is a lot of people,
And
a
then
lot
you
of
add
cars.
A parent or two and a grandparent or two,
Yep.
and it's a
Yeah, we
lot of
went from,
people.
we increased the portable toilet situation,
Okay.
so
Uh-huh.
to respect for that, so.
And I know the Kiwanis are going to be there helping
Right.
out and cooking too as well.
Yep.
The Berniston Special Town Meeting, which was scheduled for November 15th, has been canceled at the request of the Six-Town Regionalization Committee. They're still waiting for some responses from DESI on that for the district agreements, so they're not going to be ready for that vote on November 15th. Do we have to take an official vote for that one? Do you think we do, Chris?
So moved.
Vote to,
No.
right?
We
Right,
didn't
we
do
haven't
a
produced a
warrant,
warrant
yeah.
yet, so.
The question is, if you still want a special meeting for other reasons.
Right, and if we do that, we can schedule that in the future. Are there any citizens' concerns not already on the agenda?
Yes,
Please come to the table so we can hear your voice, Jane.
I can shout.
You know we want to record you.
I was gonna save this for later, but since you announced that, the Sixth Town is canceling their request for a special town meeting, I attended their meeting last night. Their meetings are always on Zoom. So the statement from DESI and DOR was very interesting, and if you get a chance to sign in and listen to the meeting, you'll be interested in hearing their reasonings. Also, I was upset to discover that Bernardston does not have a representative on that board anymore. And so my appeal is that we remedy that. We should have 3 representatives. One has to be from the school committee. The other 2 are representing the citizens of Bernardston. As you all know, I've served on this before, and I'm willing to go back on, so at least in my mind, I know we have representatives there. That needs to be done by the moderator. So my request to you 3 is that you make a couple of recommendations to the moderator to have people appointed to work for the rest of the term of the district board.
Who was, other than yourself, who else from Bernardston in the past?
Yeah. My wife was one of them,
Okay.
and at the request of the State Ethics Commission, she was asked to resign.
Really?
There was another teacher on that committee from Pioneer who, at the request of the State Ethics Commission, was asked to resign. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Anyone else?
I don't remember who the school committee person was, because that seat has been vacant for
I forget her name. but
3
she's not
years
lo-
at least.
Yeah, she's no longer on the school committee.
No, she's not.
That's it, Jennifer Coffin.
Jennifer
And
Coffin.
she did a good job, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I'd recommend to the moderator to at least appoint Jane and hope somebody else hears this plea and reaches out. We can put that on the website
I
too,
will.
that
Yep.
we're
See
looking
if we
for
can rally
at
support.
least one more rep for the Sixth Town Committee to finish this out.
Yes.
Right. And it'll be at least through spring, and maybe beyond that. I can't make any,
Right.
all I can reiterate is what I heard last night. But there's not much time left, considering that the committee started in 2019. But we should have a vote.
Yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
So Jane, once we identify maybe these representatives, would I be in touch with Greg, or who would I get in touch with to make it official to get them on?
Our moderator has to appoint
The
them.
moderator,
Yeah,
oh,
Jeff
I
Wilson.
missed that whole
Yeah.
part. All right,
Jeff.
thank you. All right, and then, but, So is the six town, they're expecting us to do this sort of fill the
Um,
slots?
No, they know they're empty. I didn't talk to them.
Okay,
I'm talking to us.
Right.
yeah, I'm just trying to coordinate to fill the vacancy.
Yeah, and then once Jeff appoints a Jane or another, we'll notify them
Oh,
who it is.
okay. There are spots.
Yes, they'd be
to
more than
fill.
happy to
I
have
understand,
reps
okay.
from Berniston.
But
I
if
thought
you
anyone
if you
could
are gonna
fill that.
recommend me, I wish you would do that now.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
can
not
get
wait for
on
the
there
second.
and
Got it.
they do talk to me because they know they don't have any representatives from Bernardston, so they kind of touch base and say, well, if you were still on the board, what would you think?
And you've stayed in touch and
I
in tune
have.
to that whole process.
I haven't,
So we'll get Jane appointed right away,
Yeah,
and then we'll
that'd be
work
great.
on filling the other vacancy.
Yeah.
Okay. I
To make that
understand.
official, I move we recommend Jane Dutcher to sit on the sixth.
Second.
Any other discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Jane, for that. Appreciate it.
you know, if you
Next,
have
any others?
questions on it that you can't get answered on the site, call them up.
Okay. Any other citizen concerns not already on the agenda? Okay, and then we'll invite Senator Joe Comerford to the table. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for
We
coming.
appreciate the fact that you're coming to Berniston and as you do pretty much annually. Yeah.
Try to.
Keep us
At
informed
least,
and
right?
answer some
And also
questions.
get
and-
to other good things, yeah.
Busy times.
These are.
Yeah.
Thank you for making time. Thanks for your warm welcome. I really am very grateful. And I love being in beautiful Bernardston, and I was so excited to see what's coming
Yeah.
on the Common.
Big weekend.
It's a big weekend. It's very exciting. So thanks to great organization, I have a list of questions that you sent in advance. So how do you want to proceed? Because
Just as
okay.
you want to see
Okay.
fit to go through them, as far as I'm concerned, unless somebody
Okay.
will probably have more questions.
Yeah, and
along
ask,
with that,
really,
but-
I hope it's everything. We were talking about this earlier, but I do believe there's nothing harder than municipal service. I do believe that, and it is my job to do everything I can to be of service to this gorgeous town and its people. So,
Appreciate that.
so first, there was a question about the speed limit near new fire station. And
Yes.
yeah, so we got right on that. We didn't have to wait for tonight's meeting. And so we do have a process, and we've sent it by email, and the town would reach out. It is appropriate to reach out to MassDOT.
Yep.
And if you would loop us in, then we'll be with you
Okay.
in that exploration with District 2. So
You got it?
I was glad to just jumpstart that.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Of course, yeah. Charter school reimbursement. So you know that I filed a bill.
Yes.
It's one piece of the overall education work that I've been doing. It's the latest piece. Probably the biggest piece is the rural school bill that I have with Rep. Blay, with Natalie. And that's really a comprehensive look at low and declining enrollment schools, right? And what the heck this is the state's responsibility. But charter school is a piece of this, as is special education, regional school transportation, right? If you think about the complex map of where Bernardston feels financial pressure, this is, of a piece. So the bill has already had a hearing. I'm working with the chair of education, the Joint Committee on Education, Jason Lewis, to move the bill. I filed it with Representative Minnie Dom, who represents Amherst and Granby. And the bill is more of a financing bill than anything. There's some oversight to it, and there's some structural reform. So in terms of financing, it increases the amount of money, reimbursement that Bernardston would receive. It moves it to, it adds an extra year essentially, so it goes 80, 60, 40,
Yep.
And it also says that anything above foundation that Bernardston chooses to spend, the state has to pay, right? So it holds Bernardston harmless to just pass through foundation. Now, I know that's not nothing. I do. But I do think that what I've heard from other communities, any of them, including Bernardston, it's hard to not only pass through foundation to have that money not come to the schools, but then to pay the extra above foundation to the charter school. It just is that kind of insult to injury relationship with charters, right? And I may have said this before here. I'm not going to be someone to tell a family where to send their kid or a student, but I do think the state has a responsibility to regulate charter schools. in ways that are workable for district schools. That's it. And so this bill actually is, I think, quite balanced. It's quite fair to charter schools, and it's quite fair to district schools. It also has some, the structural reforms are things like, and this is happening in parts of my district, if the school falls in the bottom 10% of MCAS, you may know this, it is allowed to send, or it is allowed to double, basically, its charter enrollment. I think that's a mistake, frankly. Because, you know, we need that revenue here in district schools to be able to build strong district schools. So it's a mixture. I'm very hopeful that it'll come out. I've gotten word from the chair that this will be the bill. The bill I filed will be the bill that is able to emerge from education. So if Bernardston wanted to put in a good word or a reason why, even an informal email to the chair, like, hey, I just talked to Joe, and you know, to Senator Lewis, Jason Lewis, and we really need this to come out, and we need it to pass this year, that would be helpful.
Great. What is the bill number, or?
The bill number, I will send it
Okay,
Okay,
tomorrow.
good,
Yeah.
please.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We'll
Because that's a
prepare
big
letter or
one.
something.
That's
Okay, great.
it's a huge
Thank
amount
you.
of money for the district.
it is. It is. Another structural piece that the bill contemplates is that, and we don't know exactly how the bill is going to emerge, but when making decisions about charter expansion or charter changes, they have to consider the financial well-being of the sending districts. So, for example, in the Lower Valley, Pioneer Valley Chinese Immersion was granted an expansion. And, you know, I went to the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education and said, hey, you guys, like Northampton Amherst, this is millions of dollars. But they said back, we don't have to consider, by law, we don't have to consider the financial impact on the sending districts. So I think that has to be part of that consideration. You should also know that during that conversation, I pointed out to the governor that, along with Natalie, that there was no one from Hampshire, Franklin, or Berkshire County on the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, Bessie, and that's changing. The governor appointed former Gateway superintendent, and that is good, right? Because no one on the board feels what we feel.
Right.
You know, as we struggle with declining enrollment of rural schools and the impact of all these decisions, right? So anyway, we're getting somewhere.
Appreciate that.
Good.
Chapter 70 in rural schools. So, so you all know better than most people in the world that Bernardston's school funding, it really comes in two halves. It's Chapter 70, what the state tells Bernardston it's going to pay, and that's got rural schools also, and then the municipal contribution, right? What the state says to Bernardston, this is what you can and should pay, and that together forms the obligation for the schools. And you know, I hope that I've been pressing really hard to open the Chapter 70 formula. It is absolute. It's been 10 years since it's been open. I am unequivocal about this. We've been meeting, again, with Rep. Blais, meeting with the governor, with Lieutenant Governor, with the Secretary of Education, everywhere we can. And just recently, when she was in Northampton, the governor said, I know, we have to open this formula. And that is a good thing. And that's another thing you could write directly to the governor as Bernardston and say, open the formula. Think about rural schools and low and declining, and regional schools and low and declining enrollment schools. You could tell the story of the 6-town regionalization and what the towns have been facing, right? And we need, besides passing the rural school bill, which we have to, we need to crack open Chapter 70. But I was able to work with Senator Lewis in the last budget to open up the municipal contribution formula. And that's big. It's not, let's say it's 40%. You know, Chapter 70 in rural schools, that's 60% of the problem. Municipal contribution hasn't been open in 18 years. And that's everything like, you know, what the state pays versus what municipalities pay, right? That's the cap, 82.5% cap. You know, when the state says to Bernardston, you can pay X, then they put a cap on it. And our districts out here struggle, or municipalities struggle to get to that cap. where I call them like the W's out east, right? Weston, Winchester, Wellesley, they could pay 20 or 30 times the cap, right, with an analysis. So why do we cap it, right? Why are these wealthy, big fat wealthy towns getting capped? They shouldn't, right? All these questions are what we can interrogate. So that's happening. It passed, it was signed by the governor, it's happening, and it's coming to Greenfield.
Yeah, listening session.
A listening session, and this is where I urge you, implore you to come in full force. Get the residents of Bernardston to come out, hold signs, figure out who wants to speak. Maybe it's the select board, maybe it's the chair of the school committee, something, but really let it rip about what's happening here. And it is, again, I'm glad that we were able to get a Western Mass hearing. I wanted a Western Mass hearing, so did Natalie. And now we have to really help them understand what we're facing.
November 6th?
November 6th at Greenfield. There's also a virtual one which we can also pack, but I think we rock November 6th.
Yeah.
It's at the high school.
So you've got the people listening,
I think.
10 o'clock in the morning, November 6th at the Greenfield
No, I
High
think
School?
it's not 10.
No? Okay,
so
this is
in
why I
the-
ask.
It's on, I sent out the invite,
it's
just,
I think it's an evening.
Evening, I think.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
4:30 to 6. I think
Yeah.
it's 4:30.
maybe it's a late afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
So I am trying to organize a sort of a teach-in to help people understand what we can get if we change the municipal contribution. So I'm working with a couple of folks, you may know them. Mike Naughton is a gentleman over in Gill who was the first one to say, you have to pay attention to this. And then also the MTA. So stay tuned, I'll send that out. And it's just a place for people to come and say, why the heck should I care about this? Because it's not Chapter 70, which everybody talks about, but it's still really important for us, and it's a precursor to what I hope. Okay,
Yeah, it's 4:30 on November 6th at Greenfield.
At Greenfield High School.
Yes,
Yes.
and you have Outlook invites. We're all set for that, because you got your previous email on that.
I'm just
so.
thinking of, you want the public there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Interested
it's on the
parties,
website.
I want sign making
We got it.
Yeah,
parties.
you got it.
I really do. I think, I think it's really important that the Secretary Tutwiler, who's a good guy, I think he needs to see us and what we're going through town by town, so preparing, figuring out who from Bernardston leadership can go, and then other people will have an opportunity too. I think they're going to max out
Right.
of their time. I don't think they're going to be able to hear from everyone who wants to
Right.
come. And
Okay.
let that be the good problem to have.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Let them have,
Yeah.
be able to hear a quarter of the people who signed
Right.
up.
All right.
Okay. Federal funding through the state. This was a good question. When we were talking informally before this, I said that these were, sobering times, difficult times. And one of the reasons it's difficult is the threat of, and actual experience of federal funding cuts. Let's think about federal funding, though, like we think about school funding, which is municipal contribution in Chapter 70. Let's think about that through two ways, too, the impact of what's happening. So one is the revenue that we can expect to take in as a state. That has a big impact on us, right? How much can we spend? And then the other is the federal money that's coming into the budget, but not only the budget, because it's coming into farmers, in the form of grants or nonprofits. And some of the earliest cuts that we've experienced as a state our farmers were the front line. They lost two major grants, one for climate resilience, one for local food to school. Pretty hard. And so they lost those two grants first. They were among the first. But it's not only that, right? Domestic violence, lots of health care. So right now, as I'm sitting with you, generally, in other times than these, we would expect about $16 billion in federal funding to come into a roughly $62 billion state budget. So it's a lot. It's a big percentage. Most of that is Medicaid, Mass Health, but not all. Some of it is infrastructure, some of it is SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Some of it is some of the supplemental money for free school meals. Right now, Massachusetts has lost about $3 billion in fiscal year 26. The major cuts are expected in 27 and 28. The Attorney General has been able to forestall a lot of the cuts that are outside the budget to things like research universities and some nonprofits. The Senate just met with her today. But because of the bill that passed in Washington, that most of it doesn't take place until after November 26, right, the enactment of the cuts. And then we expect to see some significant curtailing, especially in Medicaid, but not only Medicaid. And that will have a pretty significant impact in Massachusetts. Already, we have felt the impact. So the governor in the fiscal year 26 budget, which she filed last January, and then we sent to her for her signature in July, which we're about to do again. I'm sorry. I don't know why. My throat is closing up as I talk about the budget. We cut about $1 billion from that budget from last July to last January to this past July. And that was because we saw what was happening to the funding for hospitals. We saw what was happening to the funding for housing, some food security, and we needed to be ready. And in fact, we have then started to allocate some of that money. We just allocated $234 million to hospitals, and that's really important to Bay State Franklin. And so that, and I think we all agree that we have to keep our hospitals open and running, and also the Community Health Center of Franklin County in the North Quabbin. And then you can expect us to continue allocating a lot, but not all of that money. Right now, all earmarks are frozen. All money that was not in the governor's base budget, so no money added by the House and the Senate has been allocated, as we watch the revenue impact, and so that's the other half of this. So our revenues are not terrible. We're doing pretty well in the capital gains, which is fair share. And so not capital gains. We are doing well in capital gains. We're doing well in the wealth tax, the fair share amendment tax, and that's good for transportation and for schools. And that's that's all education, right? That's pre-K, K-12, and higher ed. So GCC, UMass, right? Some big employers, big engines of opportunity here. That's good, but the budget otherwise is not on particularly stable ground with regard to revenue coming in. Then as we look at the impact, the tax impact of the federal bill, there are some big warning signs. One is a $650 million potential hit if we don't decouple from some federal tax policy. We'll lose $650 million immediately in the next budget, in the 27 budget. So there's lots of decisions to be made here about how we go forward. I think you probably know this about me, but I favor looking for more revenue in fair ways. I know it's too hard for folks. The inflation plus the cost of tariffs is just really crushing families, right? With heating costs and food costs, So I don't think taxpayers as a base can pay these costs, but can we find ways to enact good taxes on corporations? There is a bill that I favor that would actually take back some offshoring of assets. It's sort of aptly named GILTY. It's an acronym, but that's not a ton of money. It's like $40 million, but it's something, right? When we're looking at sort of counting every nickel. I favor the decoupling which would really affect most of our wealthiest folks, so the very wealthy, not even millionaires, the multiple millions. And there are other things. So you should just know that I really want to hear from Bernardston. I want to hear what you're worried about. I know, for example, the regionalizations, the compact grants, we got to get those back in the budget. And I know that they was a terrible hit, disproportionate to rural communities. And so I don't think I think we can't seize up as a budget. We have to spend now to keep us going, especially if we're taking federal hits in all of these sectors. And the question is, how do we get through with less resources, higher need, right? Because we have higher unemployment. Our business sector is seizing up a bit because they're worried about whether or not to lean in. And so we have to figure out how to get through this period. We've done it before, right, as a state, but I know that you bear the biggest brunt of it. So the municipal things like UGA, the compact grants, regional school transportation, Chapter 90, which we're finally able to go out in miles, right, which is a great victory on the part of municipalities and the delegation, right, locked arms, a good administration. We have to keep pressing for those things. So I could go on, but I think I don't want to send you into oblivion with my things. Okay, regionalization of emergency services. I mean, this ties in to this, right? So I've been up in Warwick and Leiden, I know that Northfield, I know there's many conversations around EMS and fire and police. That is work I'd love to do, and I've started working and planning with FERCOG around this. Because the Collins Center is in 3 places right now in the district I represent, right? There's the conversation around fire with Shutesbury and Leverett and those guys, right? And then there's, the Irving, Warwick, and then there's regionalization in this part of the Commonwealth. And, we have to have a much, I think, more cohesive conversation about what's really needed. And we have to get back the grants that'll allow us to both study it and also talk to each other and then plan the infrastructure. Bernardston was for me, ground zero in the infrastructure not provided with regard to your fire department, right? And I'm so glad that Jim was able to do that great work. It was not something the state did, right? Which is why we call your bill, the bill I filed with Natalie, the Bernardston bill. It's the municipal building bill. It's because it speaks to the fact that the state needs to have a stake in the ground for municipal buildings like we do with libraries and schools. And so that's just one piece, though, the physical infrastructure. Then it's all the shared services and really figuring out what's equitable. So I think the grants have to come back, but that's just the first step.
Right.
And we have to pass the municipal building bill. That's the second step, let's call it. We really do have to take this on. And if Bernardston has any feedback that I was thinking about pulling together, not unlike the 6-town regionalization, really like a community conversation with Linda and just talking to each other about all of the different pain points and some opportunities, right? If we can share services. You asked about health insurance. I'm up to my eyeballs in HCGIT myself, and I know you are too. It's a scary time. I think health insurance everywhere is really expensive, and so what's happening to HCGIT is not so dissimilar. The problem is that some of the bigger entities like Blue Cross or Health New England, right, they're just bigger. They have more scale, more reserves, and so when the blows come, they can absorb the blows. HCGIT is the reserves are dwindled to such an extent. So I've sent a couple of emails about this. I don't know if you've received them. Okay.
We do.
So the trick here is this. Is this useful?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
The trick here is this. The state, when HCGIT reached out at the end of July, the governor had already signed the budget. That was a bummer, right?
Right.
I'm not that they reached out, I want them to
Right.
reach out, it just the timing was difficult. That's one, so that we have a timing issue. The second issue is that the state has no regulatory framework, no oversight at all for these private group insurance trusts. And so when we received that from the leadership of HCGIT, I went to the Haley Driscoll administration, DOR, Department of Revenue, Division of Local Services, GIC, just for council, right? That's the group insurance trust at the state. And I was like, okay, guys, this is what's happening. And they said, Joe, we don't really even understand the business model, right? There was like 100 miles between HCGIT and the state, the folks who in the state do this. That was a structural impediment. But in the ensuing weeks, we've built a bridge. The delegation's built a bridge between us out here and the Haley Driscoll administration. They are listening to this, intently actually. And we are also briefing our legislative leadership. So Natalie in the House, me in the Senate. In fact, I had another meeting about it today in Boston while I was there. And I do believe there is an appetite and a willingness to shelter HCGIT member units from possible insolvency on the part of the trust, which would be pretty catastrophic, right? Because in a moment, right, Bernardston would become responsible. And to help deal with the spikes in premiums. And then should Bernardston decide to exit the trust, again, this is like I'm way over my skis now, because that's really like not my, I would never presume to tell you what to do, to help with the runoff cost, right? So, and then a bunch of technical assistance, right? Insurance, counsel, and the potential legal stuff. That's not a done deal yet, but we are meeting as a delegation with the executive committee of HCGIT on Friday afternoon, and we're talking all the time with the Haley Driscoll administration. So the trust wanted money for the trust. I don't believe we're going to be able to get money for the trust. I do think that we've made the case to protect the member units. I do think.
Big piece.
So there's still some things to be worked, a lot to be worked out. I'm not sure how the executive committee will receive this. And I'm not sure even if member units are going to want to take it. I do think that it'll probably be, if you get the cushion from the state, you're on your you're agreeing to leave the trust and find another insurance. I'm not sure how many will take it. I actually have no count myself. I just felt like it was my moral obligation to try to do something, and as much as I could, to forestall insolvency.
Yeah. That's scary.
It's really
Yes.
scary. And I can only imagine what it feels to be the HCGIT leadership or the executive committee leadership, so I have no, I take no joy in this
Right.
at all. Okay. Election law updates. So you know that the date has been set for September 1. There's lots of bills for, for the primary date, sorry. For 26. There's lots of bills that move the primary date all over the place. I doubt any of them are going to pass since the governor has just filed this September 1. However, if Bernardston has a position, I love the clerks. Boy, they do Herculean lifting. So you should let me know. And there hasn't been any other changes since the Votes Act in 2022. Now, let me just say that was pretty humbling. Because I tried to work so that Bernardston would have the ability to say, for example, shorten early voting based on size. And so we put in a lot of provisions. I don't think I nailed it, honestly. I still think it's too hard. for the clerks. And many of them have told me how wildly I failed. And I'm happy to receive that. No, it's good, it's good. I say that with
Okay.
love for the clerks. So I do think that we should, next time we take a crack at this, we have to look at how to right-size these laws. Because I know Bernardston wants to keep your elections free and open and
Yeah.
accessible. Like, that's not, there's no question. But with mail-in voting, which I support, early voting could be better right-sized, I think, for small towns, where the clerk is, the clerk has many other responsibilities, maybe is working other jobs, maybe a part-time, So that's something I have in mind. I've certainly talked to the election laws chairs about this, and certainly have talked to the governor's folks about this. But I don't foresee any massive changes to the 2022 bill. I will say that today, when we spoke with the Attorney General, they are paying attention to the sanctity of elections in Massachusetts. So I think that's good, right? So we have watchdogs right now, looking at what's happening in the nation and just thinking, hey, how do we protect these? How do we protect our people's right to vote in Massachusetts? So that's good. But still, lots to be worked out. Rural regionalization. So we talked about the community compact, the efficiency and regionalization grants that is going to get back in the budget. I will say that regionalization, is part of the rural schools bill, right? It's one of the things that we think DESE could do a world better, and I was talking to Jane about, right? DESE could be a better ally to the 6 towns, and that's what Natalie and I have been working on for these years, right? How can you help our towns? If they're willing to have this conversation, how can you be more proactive? How can you be more resource available? But there's and then we talked about fire and police and EMTs. So there's other things that we could look at, right? And I know that, I've heard from other towns, I'm sure the same is true. You all are looking at service sharing agreements all over the place.
Right.
So if you have ideas for how to make your jobs easier, like, hey, Joe, we could do X if the state would just allow us, or Joe, I want to bring you together with these folks so we can tell you about this conversation. I would love to come. I would love to come. I would just say that I think regionalization is one part of the way we make it through, but I also have spent an unnatural amount of time looking at the fairness of funding and the way it comes out. Right, so we talked earlier about Chapter 90, we're talking about Chapter 70. I'm really interested in pilot formulas, and we were able to work with the governor, and she stood up that commission, which is going to be another opportunity for Bernardston to really put a stake in the ground and talk about the ecosystem value services and why you shouldn't be penalized because your land values are not equal to Nantucket's, right? Which is the real criminality of the current pilot formula. So I think there's ways that we could do our business differently, and there's a bazillion ways, that's a technical term, that the state has to fund us better, more equitably. I was just on the phone with Mass Hire today, right? The algorithm that drives Mass Hire's funding is patently unfair. So we get a smaller size of the pie out here. And that's, every rock I look under since I took this job, and we're moving some of them, right? Some of them are moving, and that's good. Every rock I look under has an inequity. So I will say that, when we think about ways to make your job easier, I think we can absolutely look at regionalization. We can look at fairness, and then the third thing I'll just say that I'm paying a lot of attention to is board representation, board and committee. Right? We are not equitably represented in these big statewide boards like Bessie we talked about, but that's not only. The Judicial Nominating Committee had no one from Western Massachusetts on it. So how the heck are they going to appoint our judges? When they say, we don't even know who to appoint. Well, it's not a shocker since you don't have anybody on the Judicial Nominating Committee. So we have to look at every lever we can pull to try to make life better. In addition to like tightening our belts. I'm not saying we shouldn't tighten our belts. The storm is coming. But I do think the state can do fairer business for us. And that's what I'm working on with Natalie. Okay, I probably sent you over the edge. I have like a bazillion more notes here, but I'm happy to take your questions.
Anybody have a question?
I'm good.
You're like, please leave. No. Crazy lady.
No.
The rural schools money, is there any hope that the 60 million is going to increase in the future? I know it started as a small number, and I get it.
Yeah.
And they were successful a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, we were
to
able
get it
to
the
ratchet it.
60. And it stayed at 60 this year, correct?
16.
16.
Yeah.
No, I got 60 in
No, it's what it should be.
Right. That's probably what I'm remembering.
So, there's a closeout SUP moving right now. We're going to vote on it next week, and I'm making a play for increased rural schools money. That is one thing you can talk about when you talk about the municipal contribution. That conference said that we needed, and this was 6 years ago, said we needed an extra $60 million. It's gone as high as 1.6, but 1.6 is not 6.0, right? So something has to give for us out here. Yes, you should demand it.
Yeah, 'cause it's a real problem. I mean, it definitely affects us here with the small class sizes. Obviously, our expenses aren't going down.
Exactly.
I mean, and then when the towns get together to try to regionalize more, which
It's
the
very
state seems to want to support, we get backdoored by DESI, my words.
Right.
My opinion, they haven't been very cooperative to the towns, to the 6 towns. They've been very cooperative to the school district that wants to keep their jobs, but they haven't been very helpful to the communities in helping it push through. And it's a problem with our school district too, of everybody's trying to protect their job. Well, we only have a few hundred kids. We can't look at it that way. There's still going to be jobs. We got to look at it different. That's why the 6 towns commissioned this in 2019. Because of that, we could see the town contribution going over 50% and the state's going below 50%.
Right.
And we're still there. I mean, a previous select board member to me can remember when he first got on, it was 50-50. Well, it's not even close to 50-50 anymore in the schools, and that's our biggest hitter in our budget between the tech schools and the tech school does an awesome job. I'm not saying Pioneer doesn't either, but
Yeah. They're
For
both
different
great
reasons.
places. Yeah.
but
That's.
it's
I
a
don't hear you.
huge piece combined in Berniston. It's over 60% of our budget.
Right.
We're no different than anybody else. You know, I'm speaking with the choir, but
No, it's okay.
it's frustrating when we
Yeah.
get the state agencies and we do commission a group to try to regionalize bigger, and it's probably not big enough the way it's looking. I mean,
Right.
even if this 6-town thing were to pass,
Right, yeah.
it's not going to be big enough. It's still going to be a very small
Yeah.
regional school district, the way the Commonwealth looks at it. And we're not alone. I mean, you see the Mohawks of the world, they're in the same boats. And you can see the money troubles the Amherst and Leveretts and Shutesbury's are all in with their education. Something's going to give sooner or later. And it's not, I mean, the state constitution still says it's their responsibility to educate our kids. It's not the towns.
Absolutely.
And that's in the Constitution. I know you're fighting the fight, and we appreciate it, really. You and
No,
Natalie
no.
both. It's just,
No, we
It's
have to do better.
frustrating,
The
yeah.
state has to do better.
yeah, it's crazy.
And the state has to do better, both with money, but then also with real intervention. We have to accept the policies and bills like the rural school bill, but then more than that, right?
Right.
There has to be a real ownership that 2/3 of the districts statewide are hold harmless. They're minimum aid districts. That says something about population shifts,
Yeah.
right? That we have to own as a state and have a plan. If we're 2/3 are hold harmless, what are we doing, right? And hold the harmless from the state's view, by the way, it's now begun to change because so many districts are like, oh no, thank you. Hold harmless is not a joy because, going up 1 or 2% is not the 11% inflation, right, that you're grappling with.
Right.
But to the state's view, it's like, wait a minute, you have declining population, so actually we should be paying much less if we were actually paying a per pupil amount. And so there's a mind frame change that is happening as we understand that hold harmless is nobody's friend.
No,
It's not where you want to be,
no.
and it's not where anybody I know wants to be. I mean, it would be catastrophic if we didn't have the hold harmless,
Yeah.
but it's hold harmless is no joke happy, you know.
I was gonna say, all of that.
Yeah.
And to go further with, a question I had asked recently, with just Berniston-Leiden regionalization, what's it gonna look like 10 years from now when families are getting even smaller and population moves out? And I struggle with the fact that when people think of Massachusetts, certainly I do, I think it's had a history of one of the best educated states. They get the best education in the state, a lot of great schools. What's happening? You know, what's happening down at this level? It's not pretty. And hopefully that never negates the feelings of Massachusetts being one of the best educational states in the Union. That's my opinion. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
you know.
You should know that Natalie and I also focus a ton on population loss out here. And have spoken with the governor, you know, just about, and with Linda, of course, Dunleavy, you know, about what the state's responsibility is to bolster population. We wrote an op-ed in Mass Live. It was about ghost town busters, because there was that research study that looked at population decline, and it's a national issue for rural communities. But here in Massachusetts, in 5 of my districts, not Berniston, but, you know, are projected to not be governable by 2100 because of population loss. And so, you know, we have, and we've talked to a number of other researchers, like, can we write about this? Can we plan for this? You know, things like infrastructure, public transportation, right? Economic development. These things that we know bring people in. And frankly, Jessie Dean, a Berniston resident,
Yep.
is fabulous here, right? She's battling this with us.
Yep.
You know, how do we attract people back to Western Massachusetts? We have to do that as we do all this other things.
Right.
And of course, they're mutually reinforcing.
Of course, yeah.
Because good schools will bring people in,
Right.
right? Housing, which we have to build, excuse me, will bring people in. So jobs. So it's all that stuff we have to do all at once. But the fire is at the school district level or shared services level. And that is, you know, that's the immediate. But the long term really should be about reversing population decline.
Right. Can I, go ahead.
It's not so much a question. You had mentioned about the new fire station, and we're still kind of waiting on that earmark, but I wanted to share with you, our fire chief here, Peter Shed's in the back here, but we have designated May 2nd as our open house for the new fire station, so we'll be formally sending out invites, but on behalf of Chief, just wanted to let you know that, because we'd love you to come to that.
Oh. And the congressman, right?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course. We'll do the formal invites, but I just wanted to
Natalie, you'll get invited.
And not-
Yeah.
let you,
Natalie.
yeah, of course. And it's May 2nd, it's a Saturday. But we're still waiting on that earmark, but we're working with the point of contact at USDA anyways.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful. That was good.
yeah.
Really well
Yeah.
done on the part of
We do
Burns.
have some bigger players in the audience here today. We have our treasurer, Sue Bove, Jane Dutcher, Chair of the Finance Committee, Chris Wisk, Town Clerk, Peter Shed, Fire Chief. Do any of you guys have any questions? Well, we don't get Joe all the time. This is very timing if you guys do have questions.
I'm just happy that the
Nothing's changed?
state primary is not the weekend of Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, you are.
Peter, any questions while you have the senator here?
It'd be interesting to know what the ultimate picture is with the Berniston-Leiden merger.
Yeah.
I can see where Leiden's gonna benefit. I don't see what the benefit is for Berniston yet, other than more gray hairs for me.
Yeah.
The
Working on that in a
regionalization.
lot of different venues.
Yeah, they don't, Leiden,
Yeah.
when I met with Leiden, they
Yeah.
said similar things. Yeah.
Yeah. But Jane, any questions?
Well, I've been.
I know you were picking her brain over there
about
before.
lots of things here.
I know. Jane and I were at a meeting once, and we were talking to each other about two different things. And so I was talking to Jane about something, and she was talking to me about something else, and we realized that we were. And then we made a list, and we had 4 things.
We probably talked for a good 2 minutes before we realized we were talking about different
It was
things.
very embarrassing for me.
But similar, right?
No,
Maybe
not
similar but
similar.
different,
They all
no?
involve money.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, No,
No.
I keep coming up with new. I'm going to be looking for support for my most recent request, which is special legislation. And it involves the 6-town planning board.
Can you hear?
One of the things that was discovered after the request went out to have special town meetings in all 6 towns was that Montague could not have a special town meeting. They had to have a special election because they're a representative form of government. So I thought, well, that's nice. It's not fair to me. And this is why it's not fair to me and why I feel disenfranchised for myself and for every resident of the other 5 towns. If you live in Montague, there will be voting hours from, say, 11 to 7 on some given day. And you can go to the polls when it's convenient for you. In all of the other 5 towns, there would be a special town meeting. Ours was set for Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. If you could not make Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, or you planned to, but something happened and delayed you, you wouldn't be able to vote on that question. So my proposal is that there be special legislation adopted, unless it can go into the general law, that says if you're creating a region of towns and any one town requires a vote, an election, then every town has to have an election. And I talked to her earlier about that, and we're going to talk about it some more, but it's going to need support to get through. I know it makes an expense for the town that we didn't plan on, but that's not the point. It's one man, one vote, or one woman, one vote, and the way this is set up now, that's not true.
And, you know, I'm in support of that as well. And when we had to get a new fire truck, we had to have a vote at the annual town meeting and a special town election for that one question to buy the fire truck, so that everybody had the opportunity to vote.
Well, but those were 2 different, one was to buy it, the other one was to have an override.
Right, right.
It's 2
Yes,
different
that's
questions.
different.
Yeah.
That is different.
And so probably if we were gonna do that, we would want, you know, for special legislation, we don't need this, the raised seal and all of that stuff, right? But we, well, we can, the select board will decide whether or not you wanna do this, you know. But we probably would need the towns to come together and want this, and then
Right.
we would do our best.
Any other questions from anybody? Appreciate your comment.
Sure.
I really do.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, stop. I really appreciate you so much. I didn't speak about my thanks to your public health department. They've really done some very good work, and I'm going to be back here at a meeting talking about public health protections vis-a-vis some concerns around dust related
Oh.
to
Yeah, it's a full flight farm, the
Yep.
Board of Health
Yeah.
meeting.
Is that the
that-
28th?
Yeah.
The 28th, that one? Or a different one?
That's our Board of Health, our regular Board of Health meeting
I
is the
think
28th. That meeting hasn't been scheduled
that-
yet,
I
to
don't
my
think-
knowledge.
No.
Right.
There's going to be that meeting, maybe that meeting where the Mass Board of Public Health is going to come out and talk
Yeah,
about,
and talk about training us how to, yeah,
and talk about the capacity.
yeah.
You know, public health with the State Action for Local Public Health Excellence, you know, we have all these shared services grants. Speaking of shared services, that's been where I've focused a lot of my attention. And so when we brought the concerns from the residents and the Board of Health to the state folks, they said, well, we'll come to Berniston, we'll talk
Yeah.
about what we can do. But then I'm going to come back for a hearing.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
be back just to, you know,
Miss Sabar is her name, I believe.
Cheryl.
Cheryl, excuse
Yeah.
me. She's gonna
No, no,
come,
no,
and
yeah.
we're gonna have a meeting with her at some point in the near future.
Exactly, right. And then I'll come back after that.
Right.
So I'll be back pretty soon.
Yep.
So
Thank you very
thank you
much.
very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
Very,
coming.
very
Always
grateful.
good.
Thank you for the water.
Yes.
Absolutely, once more.
Safe travels.
Thank you so much.
I don't know how you keep up
I
doing
don't
what you,
I don't know how you do it either.
it's amazing.
I love the job.
I get it, but
And I love
boy,
Berniston. So thank you for letting me do it.
okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
we appreciate you.
Okay, next up, under new business, FEMA flood plan maps. For the first time in decades, FEMA is updating the flood plan maps for Franklin County, Mass. Through a new preliminary national flood hazard layer, which identifies draft 100-year and 500-year flood zones. This updated data is now available for public review on the town website. To access it, visit the Emergency Management webpage and click the blue tab labeled FEMA Flood Hazard and Risk Data Viewer. Once the preliminary maps are published in the Federal Register, a 90-day public comment period will begin. Municipalities are responsible for submitting comments during this phase. Any owner or lessee, I can never say that word. Lessee, thank you, of real property in our community who believes their property rights will be adversely affected by the proposed flood hazard determinations may appeal to the Emergency Management Director, Mr. Peter Shed, at email pshed@townofberniston.org, or by phone 413-522-8775. It's important to note, however, that the sole basis for such appeals is the possession of knowledge or information indicating the proposed flood hazard determinations are scientifically or technically incorrect. Good luck with that, right? The appeal data must be submitted to FEMA during the 90-day appeal period. Note that the 90-day appeal period is statutory, cannot be extended. However, FEMA also will consider comments and inquiries regarding data other than the proposed flood hazard determinations. For example, incorrect street names, typographical errors, and omissions. If the town cannot submit a scientific or technical data before the end of the 90-day appeal period, we may nevertheless submit data at any time. If warranted, FEMA will revise the flood insurance rate map and flood insurance study report after the effective date. If someone disagrees with FEMA's new flood maps during the 90-day appeal period, there are a few ways the issue can be resolved. One, town officials may work directly with FEMA to sort it out. There could be a formal hearing to review the appeal. If the disagreement involves scientific or technical data, it might be sent to an independent expert group or federal agency for advice, if they're open. Additionally, the town can request help from a special group called a Scientific Resolution Panel. This all sounds pretty official, doesn't it?
It's very official.
To review and help resolve any scientific or technical conflicts during the appeal process. More details will follow soon. So the short answer, if you think you're in one of those prone areas after you look at the map and you have questions, you can contact Peter Shed for some guidance. Is that true, Peter?
Yes, yes.
Have you had a chance to review it quickly at all or not yet?
We did.
You-
And then there's a training coming up with
Yeah,
the
the
first
call.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't remember the off the top of my head.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to go to that.
yeah, I sent the invite out to you
And
guys, yeah.
the lady was very, very helpful.
Yeah, we had someone from the state come
Oh.
last week, Joy was her name, and
That's
she
right, too,
gave
that's
us a
right.
little rundown on it, so,
Been a long time since we've seen new ones of those, right?
right.
What,
10,
1980?
yeah,
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're up to speed on all that then.
yep.
Public facility use application, the Berniston Kiwanis Club, so Brian's not gonna vote on this.
This
time,
is
right?
true.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the public facility use application for Scarecrow in the Park on October 17th, 18th, and 19th, 2025.
So moved.
And I'll second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We have a Berniston Elementary School use application. would entertain a motion to approve the Berniston Recreation Commission public facility use application for winter sports programming from November 1st through April 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second?
And just a note on that, that the principal did sign off on that at the school. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Another Berniston Elementary School use, Cub Scout Pack 3. I would entertain a motion to approve the public facility use application for Cub Scout Pack number 3 for weekly pack meetings during the colder months on Mondays from 6 to 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second?
And the school principal did sign off on that one, and I do know the pack leader has been working with the rec department in Berniston, so there's no conflicts with any of the rec winter sports. They work well together as they have in the past. Any other discussion on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
We have another, the Berniston Elementary School. I'd entertain a motion to approve the public facility use application for Boys Suburban Amateur Basketball League from October 25th through March 6th, 2026.
So moved.
Second?
That one as well was signed off by the principal, and that group has also been working with the Berniston Rec Commission, and they've agreed on dates and times that don't interfere. All those in favor?
Aye.
Another Berniston Elementary School. This is like a record one.
It
It's a
is.
record.
I would entertain a motion to approve the public facility use application for River Valley Raptors softball from November 1st through March 29th, 2026, weekends only when there are no recreation activities.
So moved.
Second?
This one as well was signed off by the principal, and Berniston Rec has been involved with the scheduling of that as well, so there's no conflicts. Correct.
Have a question.
Yes.
This is softball, and it's Berniston Elementary School. Where the heck are they going to play softball on?
Well, it's pitcher, catcher, probably workouts.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skills building.
Skills,
go.
yeah.
Skills building.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll move on to old business, the FRT grant support letter. I would entertain a motion to accept and sign the letter of support for the micro transit and last mile transit grant. The letter reads as follows. Dear Grant Review Committee, we, the town of Berniston, are writing to express our strong support for the Franklin Regional Transit Authority's application for the micro transit and last mile transit grant. At present, Berniston operates a limited demand response van service through our Council on Aging. This grant would allow us to significantly expand the services, hours, and days of operation, and importantly, enable us to join FRTA's Access Program. For the first time in over 15 years, our residents would gain access to reliable public transportation, an essential step toward improving mobility, equity, and quality of life in our community. The Franklin Regional Council of Governments recently conducted a public engagement initiative to assess transportation needs across underserved areas of Franklin County, including Berniston. Survey and focus group results from our town clearly demonstrate that residents are eager for expanded transportation options and strongly support increased transit access. We respectfully urge you to approve this vital application. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration. Sincerely, the Berniston Select Board. So, entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second?
And we did have a presentation at the last board meeting where we had,
Where they assured us that if this wasn't successful, that they would be able to back out the whole process and give us back our
Vans.
vans.
correct, a very
That's
good
correct.
point.
It is critical to the success because the vans do support the senior center activities. This would be an expansion of that for the general public to use the vans as well.
Correct.
Question.
Yes.
Would the application process remain the same?
Application process.
Well, you can't just call up and say, I want to use the van unless you've submitted an application and been approved.
You will call the FRTA, they will handle that now?
Yes.
They also have an
They
app.
handle it now.
Well,
So it would stay the
it
same.
won't go to the Berniston Senior Center, though, they do it.
No.
I'm not sure,
That's my
Jen. We'll have to
understanding.
find out how it changes when the grant, if the grant.
Alls I can tell you is what they told us the other night is everything's gonna go through the FRTA
Yeah.
offices.
It'll
Okay.
be like an app on your phone.
You
to-
won't be talking to the senior
To
center.
get a ride or
contact.
call.
You talk to the senior center if you want to ride,
Right,
but you have to have been approved to use the van service before you can call.
But this is a different service.
This is a
that
different
FRCA
service.
is
So-
offering.
This is expanded.
This is done, the application process is through the FRTA, and that's why I'm asking the question. Does that remain the same, or?
I'll find out and get back to
her.
Or pre-approved?
I'll find out and I'll get an
They
answer.
didn't mention anything,
I think that's important.
they didn't mention
because-
anything about a pre-approval. They
No.
did say seniors had priority, so if there was still seats left and Chris wanted a ride to Greenfield and she put in for a ride to Greenfield, she could get a ride if there was a seat available, senior didn't already have.
I would be interested in knowing if
I'm a
there's
senior.
Yeah,
pre-approved.
she qualifies.
So you want to know if the
She
app,
qualifies.
I'm sorry, if the application.
You're not
process-
that old.
Yeah.
Is that what your question-
An application or pre-approval.
You got it.
I mean, when I used it for Jack, I called up saying, I'd like to use, like, next Monday, I'd like to
Yep.
have the van for my husband. And the response was, having filed the application with FRTA. And that process takes about 2 weeks. Well, thank heavens, everybody jumped, and I got it approved before Monday, you know, so I could.
Never
use it.
heard of that.
Not once have I heard that. That's interesting. That's
find
new
out.
We'll
knowledge.
find out. but-
Okay.
Yep,
Yep.
you're on it.
All
Thank
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, we learned something.
Other business unknown at the time of the posting. There's an employee time off request that we all noticed tonight. I would entertain a motion to approve the employee time off request.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And I would entertain a motion to appoint Kevin Kenny as a transfer station attendant for the town of Berniston, effective October 16th, 2025. This is a regular part-time position, no more than 20 hours per week at an hourly wage of $17.51 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yes, just wanted to thank the people from the highway department who filled in the absence of having a part-time transfer station attendant.
That's a good point.
Well, Jaden's still there, so
Not on
Kind of,
Thursdays.
sort of, but
Yeah.
not all the time.
his last day is, Jaden's last day is next, or this coming weekend, because he's going to do a little training with
Okay.
Mr. Kenny, and then we'll do his letter of
Yep.
appreciation next
Yep,
time.
thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we already mentioned the town meeting canceled. That was my only other note. But Town administrators report.
Yeah, just a quick update. Ken wanted me to update everyone on the MassDOT bridge repairs in Bernardston for the Fall
Thank you.
River and deck preservation over Interstate 91. There's really no change. Basically, the construction's still scheduled to begin in the summer of 2026. So in the summer, according to MassDOT's official project page, that's where I received the update. Again, it's just a full replacement of the bridge over the over Fall River and deck preservation of the bridge over Interstate 91. The project also includes the pavement milling and overlay, improvements to the bicycle and pedestrian accommodations along Route 10, which is really going to be great. Again, the project's funded through the 2026 Transportation Improvement Program.
Is
and
that federal or state?
It's federal.
Okay.
I think portions could be state, though, to be honest. But the budget, the estimated total contract cost is still $36.6 million. Federal participation is $38.5 million. So that's, yeah.
That bridge is deteriorating quickly.
Yeah. And the project manager, there's a name to this. His name is Gregory Mischel of MassDOT. He is he is the project manager for this. I think that's important to know if there's any issues. But yeah, so that's the latest and greatest on the bridge repairs in Bernardston.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
How's that going to be, Pete? Fun?
I'm sure it will be.
Are you going to be able to get your fire trucks over to my side of the bridge?
Yes.
Don't give a
No,
fuck.
they'll just go up to Burt Flat and come around.
Oh, great.
We'll have them put a jump in there so we can jump across.
Yeah. Maybe
Anybody-
you could leave one of your trucks at the old fire station, just for fun.
Anybody have anything else? Don't forget, Scarecrow in the Park this weekend.
Yes.
Starts Friday night. What time Friday night?
The
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock is the fire department's
Yeah.
fundraiser.
And there's a band, correct?
Yep.
Friday night.
It's live band.
It starts Friday night.
Should be a good time.
Hours on Saturday are
10 to 4,
10 to 4.
10 to 3 Sunday.
Okay. Tractor parade, high noon on Saturday.
High noon on Saturday.
That's the big one.
Always popular.
Downtown will be shut down for a period of time for
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Just everybody's aware of
a
that
big
closure.
parade, and it's always popular. So
Okay.
Scarecrows have to be up and mounted by
if you-
Friday,
If you
right?
want them judged.
Ju-
Yep,
by
you can
Friday.
put them up anytime.
Yeah,
You
all
know,
right.
If you want to put one up Saturday, that's fine too, but if you want it in the judging
Oh, yeah.
categories, I suggest you get it up there.
Do we
We're
have a
getting it. We're
noise
getting up there tomorrow.
ordinance in town so that while this parading with the sirens and everything else drives my horses crazy?
They like the bell?
They love the bell. Thank you for the bell.
So, oh, yeah.
You should move your horses for the day.
Where? Over to your house? I can do that.
And here's
All
a-
right.
Out there on the
Here's a big pasture right next to their house.
That's my pasture.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion for the meeting to be adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, thank you.
Jesus.